the air, so now I have to keep clearing my throat after I laugh so hard. So it's not the coronavirus time. I'm fine, believe me. Trust me.
Good.
I was flying all
you
over
wouldn't
the
want
place,
you to,
but
caught the coronavirus at the NFL Combine. Indiana makes national news again. Blame it on Trump, damn it! It's his fault. Okay, so let's get back into the combine here. Ed Kratz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, SI.com. Great job, by the way. There, you getting a little camera time with the SI boys.
Well, it is who I work for, so it's not like I have a whole lot of choice.
You might as well do it anyway, right?
Right. So, hey, we got to shoot a stand-up. Why don't you meet back here at 12:30 and we'll talk about some stuff. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever you need. So,
all right. So the Eagles,
it was like I said, it was fun.
So the Eagles saw your on-camera stuff, and they say, Ed, we want you in the war room. What are you going to bring to the war room from the combine?
Well, I'll probably bring a lot of snacks because I tend to get hungry during the draft. I tend to get hungry just in general, but I'd probably bring a lot of snacks.
Sure.
I'd bring probably, my notes that I took while I was talking to these players, and I really don't know what I could bring, but I have kind of, talking to people, I do have kind of a decent idea which direction the Eagles might go here, but I would never get invited to the war room. I'd love to sit in the war room to just observe
Wouldn't that be
and see
great?
how that whole thing plays out. But it would be fantastic. I think, I think if there was a way to make it happen for one lucky fan in each team, that would be really a cool thing for a fan to
like
experience.
A lottery sort of thing, or like a
right,
fundraiser
so
sort of thing.
Ticket holder. Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you don't go to the war room. Talk with us though a little bit about how the Eagles are preparing for the draft after the combine.
Well, we talked, and that's another great thing about the combine is, of course, it's about the players and whatnot, but they also bring all the coaches and general managers in, and they're available to meet with whoever, you can just wander into, Frank Reich's press conference and ask him questions, or Andy Reid, whoever. So the Eagles, of course, they had Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman there, and, Howie was asked if he thinks that this is a historic draft class, which, that's the buzz. Everybody says so, but Howie's like, I'm not ready to say that yet. Let's see how this week plays out. Let's see how our investigations of the players goes as the combine ends and we start to head toward free agency. He said, I'm not ready to say that yet. He goes, I still have to wait and see how it plays out. So that said, the Eagles need a receiver. There's so many teams, Tom, in this draft that need wide receivers. And, there's tons of them to be had. And so you ask yourself, okay, could a team such as the Eagles or the Colts or even the Buffalo Bills, who pick right behind the Eagles, and I think we're going to try to trade up ahead of the Eagles to get a receiver. But the question is do you wait until the second round to get a receiver and go for a position that maybe, you have a high value on, say, a cornerback? It's a good class for cornerbacks. It's a very good class for offensive tackles and centers. So any team that needs one of those, do you go for one of those early in the first round or whenever you pick in the first round, and then you come back in the second round where there'll still be plenty of good receivers, probably even into the third round? Do you wait and take a guy that, okay, maybe he's not one of the top 10 receivers, but, hey, he's, 11 to 20, and that could be good enough if we develop the guy right. So that's the question I think teams have to ask is, do I grab a receiver early, one that I have highly rated? Do I have another player at another position that I might need? Do I grab him in the first round and then wait until the second to pick that receiver? So, as far as the Eagles go, I think they want a receiver. I think they want to try to move up to get a receiver. One of those big three, like I mentioned, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, or C.D. Lamb. And I think a lot of teams are thinking that is, are these guys the cream of the crop, and how high up do we want to go to try to land one of those guys?
Ed, I know you're very familiar with our head coach. We love him, Frank Reich, here in Indianapolis. Did you get a chance to talk with him or interact with him? Did you get any sense of what, through his press conference or Ballard's press conference, on what they're going to do? I know a lot of people were liking this Jordan Love kid. It doesn't look like he had a good showing in the combine, but that's not the end-all, say-all. This is just step one. But did you get a sense from Frank Reich or Ballard on where they're going to go and the decision in their first round with the draft? Obviously, we've got this big quarterback situation to resolve. There's the Rivers rumors, there's the Brady rumor, there's the Jordan Love rumor. Did you get a sense of anything from what the Colts are going to do?
I did not get in on Frank Reich. It was kind of an oddball time. He spoke later in the day. I think it was around 3:45, and by then I was quite busy. But I did talk to some others about a lot of teams, and I think the Colts, if they really fall in love with a quarterback like even a Jacob Eason, he's got all the tools. You wonder about his head, but if they really fall in love with a quarterback, they could go quarterback with their first-round pick. But to me, I don't think they'd go that way. I think they're going to get a quarterback in free agency, is what I believe. And, you mentioned Rivers, and I wouldn't discount like a Marcus Mariota either. But I think they're going to get a quarterback. I think they'll probably open the competition with Jacoby Brissett, see who wins that. And I think they could get a quarterback maybe later, maybe like a Jake Fromm in the second round. Jordan Love, there was a lot of buzz, even though he didn't have that great of a combine. There's a lot of buzz that he's kind of moving up the draft board, and that'll be interesting to see just how high he goes. But I don't think the Colts, unless they want to trade up, will be in play for the big names like Tua Tagovailoa, who of course you have the injury concerns with him, but guys like Jake Herbert, who I think Jake Herbert. I think he could be the best quarterback in this class. I know everybody thinks Joe Burrow, and, I feel bad for Burrow. He's going to go to a team in the Bengals probably that just isn't equipped to protect the quarterback or keep him healthy.
Well, he may not.
He could struggle, but
he may not because he's got this hand issue now.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was a pretty funny little situation.
He's got the white boy issues we've been joking about all week. He's got the white boy issue.
but Patrick Mahomes has small hands too, and Mahomes came to his defense and said, "Hey, my small hands have worked out just fine for me." So
just fine, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but I think Justin Herbert could be the best player or best quarterback, I should say, in this draft. But I don't think the Colts are going to be able to trade up that far to get one of these guys. So I think the Indianapolis Colts will probably just go with a receiver or a need on defense, which they have, some holes there on the defense. Very good defense. But I think they're going to sign a quarterback in free agency and maybe take one later in the draft and go with whoever their highest player ranked is at the spot they pick number one in the first round.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Ballard doesn't typically have a history of trading up anyway. So I think we're just going to stay right where we're at and see who's available when we do the draft. How important we joke about the hand size, we joke about the vertical size. You look at Zion with the NBA, he had a 45-degree vertical. That would make him a hell of a tight end, if you will, in the NFL. But how much weight is put on how fast they run the 40-yard dash, or what their vertical is, or what their hand size is, or what their intellect is? How big of an impact does all of that come together in a decision to draft a player?
Well, I think it depends on the team and who, the person who's running that organization. I think it depends on how they feel about it. I think back, I don't even know what year it was, but when Mike Mamula from Boston College was kind of a freak at the combine, putting up all sorts of great numbers, and the Eagles drafted him with their first pick. And, he was okay, but he never lived up to that first-round billing. But, he was a monster at the combine, and they put a lot of stock in those numbers. And, as the week went on, and I've been thinking about this, is what is the value of the combine now? Because you have so many analytics, so many people are doing the analytics now, and there's so much game tape obviously out there. What value is it to know what a player runs in the 40, especially a lineman? It's fun to watch them run and see what their times are, but what's the value? What do teams put on that? And I'm not sure that it's as much maybe as it was in the past. But again, I think it's dependent on how each organization feels about it. I think it kind of gives you, it's kind of another tool in deciding on what you think about a player, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all, nor should it be. But, me, I'm more of a tape guy. I like to see what a player does, with pads on, when someone's trying to stop that player from doing what he wants to do. That's kind of my number one tool. And then this stuff with the 3-cone drill and the 40-yard dash and the bench press and the vertical jump. To me, that's kind of down the list. I think the combine is more valuable for the interviews with the players and the teams that could be interested in drafting him. I think it's a good way to look at the medicals to evaluate the medicals. But as far as the actual drills, I don't think it holds as much weight as it used to. And it's interesting, Tom, because I've heard that the bench press is going to go away next year. I don't know if you heard that, but I think they're going to do away with the bench press, and they're going to have a kind of a big medicine ball with some chip in it that determines how fast they can throw this ball and what the acceleration rate is and all that stuff. So they may start to begin to look at drills that are more analytics friendly rather than just kind of these old-fashioned skill sets that they used to with players, like bench press. I mean, what value is that? A kid's strong or he's not, and you can tell that by his game tape. So I think you might see some of these drills start changing with analytics in mind to make them a little bit more relevant.
Yeah, it's amazing how much that's come into play. I'm wondering, did you get a chance to go down there and squat with the best of them?
I'm not a big squatter. I've never really squatted much, but I love the bench press. I think if you put me against the Philadelphia media, I'd probably win that bench press. A lot of them were saying they probably couldn't even budge 225, but I certainly could do it. I would love to go out there and show my bench press. But see, I think the bench press is made for guys like me, the shorter guys with shorter arms that don't have as far to push that bar up. So, when you see some of these bench press numbers with big offensive linemen, and you're like, how can he only do 18 reps at 225? This guy's like 6'6", 310 pounds, but he can only do 18 reps. But a lot of that is because of the arm length. Guys that have to push that bar further are at a disadvantage as opposed to, guys like centers, shorter squatter guys. And I put myself in that group. I can bench a pretty high number just because I can push that bar up a shorter distance. I have shorter arms. So, I would have loved to hop on that bench press.
If you'd have got a chance to do that, I would have hoped that you would have taped it. Ed Kratz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, the SI.com, our official NFL contributor. Ed, I know you got a hard stop here, so any final words of wisdom or parting thoughts that you may have, sir?
No, I just enjoy it. I'm sorry I missed you out there in Indy. I know you had some
me
issues
too.
With,
that was a bummer.
Your vehicle, and it won't be the last time. And I was thinking I think that was my third trip into the Lucas Oil Stadium, and it's been for different things each time. I was there for a Monday night game when the Eagles played the Colts. I was there for the Big Ten championship when Penn State beat Wisconsin, and what was a great game. And then I was there for the Combine this past week. So, I enjoyed coming in. It won't be my last trip into Indianapolis. I just hope the weather is just, a little bit nicer. I didn't see the sun. I missed not seeing the sun. It was funny when I took off, we got above the clouds and the sun was out. I'm like, what's that? What? Oh, it's the sun.
Well,
I hadn't seen that in a while. So
I tell you what, if you come back for the Indianapolis 500, you will have plenty of sun.
Yeah, right. End of May. Yeah. Well, I'll have to see what I can do about that, I guess.
All right, Ed, we appreciate you joining us. So you have yourself a good weekend, and we'll talk to you as we get closer to draft day.
You got it. My pleasure. Thanks, Tom.
Ed Kratz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, joins us and talks with us about the NFL Combine and just kind of gives us a recap of what happened here in Indianapolis this week. And we joke about the weather, but it's true. It was raining. It was snowing. Cold, it's sunny. Tomorrow it's going to be in the 60s. That's what they say in Indiana. If you don't like the weather, stick around. It'll change. We'll be right back for our final segment with Tony Donahue of the Tony D Podcast, breaking down some more March Madness and some more NASCAR right here on the Balance Radio Network.
Tonight.
we playing 4-on-4 with a barbershop.